Today's story is Seymour in Hawaii, The Search for the Next Campfire Coach, written by Carol Craven Bates and illustrated by Kari Wimsatt. If you would like a copy of this book, there's a link for it in the description. Chapter 9. After Seymour left Mike Barlow and Ben Richards standing on the shore, he swam far out into the Pacific Ocean. He was having a wonderful time eating his fill as he leisurely glided around. All through the night, the happy little smotter would eat for a while, then he would sleep for a while, and then he would eat again. When the sun came up and started heating the water, the Smotosaurus knew it was time to make good on his promise. For the second time that morning, the smotter came back to the beach where he had left the two men the night before. He hurried across the warm sand and headed straight for the convention center. Seymour planned to keep his word and return to the meeting. As he strolled along, he had a startling thought. I wonder what time it is. I hope I'm not too late for the donuts. Seymour had speculated about the job of being campfire coach most of the night. He was getting more excited about this new adventure as time went on. He finally decided that was just the kind of job he needed to have. The smotter loved being around children. He knew lots and lots of Bible stories, and he loved to eat donuts. It sounded like a win-win situation. Suddenly, the Smotosaurus stopped in his tracks. An alarming thought went through his mind that demanded an answer. There was no one there to listen to him, so he talked out loud to himself. I wonder what a coach eats while he's at a campfire meeting. I sure hope I don't have to eat just donuts all summer. I like them, but they're only for snacks. They don't stick to my ribs like good old meat and vegetables. I better ask Mr. Mike about that. Having the food issue settled in his mind, Seymour continued the short distance to the meeting place. When the Smotosaurus arrived at the hotel convention center, Toby Jordan and Jamie Trace, two of the committee members for Camp Hosanna, were standing outside waiting for him. The two men introduced themselves and told Seymour their mutual friend Mike Barlow had asked them to meet him. After the introductions were made, it seemed that no one knew what else to say. After a minute or two of looking at each other, Toby finally broke the silence. Looking at his watch, he stated, Seymour, it's almost 9 o'clock. We've been standing here for 30 minutes. We were beginning to think you might be late, or even worse, not show up at all. The expression on the face of the Smotosaurus was a look of disbelief. When Seymour gives his word, Seymour keeps his word. Besides, I was here much earlier and no one was here. That's the trouble with being early. There's usually no one there to appreciate it. I don't have a watch like you. I have to go by the sun. The smotter looked past the two men and tried to see the door to the kitchen entrance. Have the donuts been delivered yet? I thought if I got here early enough this morning, I could help the cook carry the donuts over. The first time I came to the hotel, I peeked my head around the kitchen door, but they didn't seem to be making any donuts. They were making some yummy-smelling bacon and eggs, though. I was just about to ask the chef if I could have some of that savory stuff, but he saw me before I could get the words out. As soon as he laid eyes on me, he started yelling. Then he pushed me back out the door and locked it. I don't think I'd like to stay overnight at this place because they don't seem very friendly. Suddenly, remembering something important, Jamie put a big smile on his face and blurted out, I have no idea about the donuts or the bacon and eggs, but listen up, Seymour. Since Friday will be the last day of our meeting, the preacher and a few other committee members decided to have a farewell luau that night. It'll be held on the beach in front of the hotel. Mr. Barlow told me to ask you to join us and be our guest of honor. The Smotosaurus was stricken with a look of terror on his face. When he finally spoke, he was almost stuttering. Oh, no luau. Toby noticed that Seymour was trembling as he pulled him out of the center of the walkway. Members and visitors were starting to arrive in large numbers. The three of them needed to step aside so the others could enter the building uninhibited. As soon as they were out of the way, Toby shouted, Seymour, what are you saying? Do you know what a luau is? It's a big party on the beach with lots and lots of food. We thought you'd be excited about it. The Smatosaurus abruptly started darting his eyes back and forth, looking from one side to the other. The Smotter even stepped behind the two men, turning his back to the wall so no one could get behind him. Clearing his throat and whispering, Seymour said, "Yeah, I know what a luau is. I've been to one recently. You may not know this, but along with all the food, there are lots of pretty girls. They put flowers in their hair and some around their neck. Then they do a funny little dance called the hula, but they don't use a hula hoop. After they get done dancing is when the party really starts. That's when they bring out the food." Giving the Smotter a puzzled look, Jamie cried out, "Why would you not want to go to a luau? They're great fun. Are you crazy? We've heard all about how well you love to eat. Sounds like the perfect place for you to hang out." "Guys, I'd love to go to another luau, but you don't understand. I'm not allowed back on the beach for a party of any kind. At least not until everybody forgets who I am. At my last luau, some of the people left the party very angry. They didn't seem to want to share, and they got mad at me because I ate up all their food." Toby took in a deep breath and explained, "Are you kidding me? When the Hawaiians have a luau, they roast a whole pig and have all kinds of fresh fruits and vegetables, drinks and desserts. What do you mean you ate up all their food? There's always tons of food." "I wouldn't say tons of food, but I have to admit there was a lot to eat. The best part was the roasted pig. After I ate the pig with the little apple in its mouth, I saw everyone looking at me kind of funny. While I was eating some of the other stuff, I noticed the women were starting to put the food away. That's when some of the bigger guys started running towards me. They all had a mean look on their face. I had to hurry into the sea to get away from them. They yelled at me and told me never to come to another luau, at least not while they were around. They said they were going to patrol the beach and they better not see me on it. They didn't have to get so huffy. I was getting ready to leave the party anyway. When the food is put away, Seymour doesn't stay. Now I have to be careful every time I come out of the water. I have to hurry across the beach and hide as soon as I can. I found that beach people aren't very friendly either." Jamie shook his head in disbelief. "At a luau, you're supposed to share the food." The Smatosaurus shook his head up and down. "Yeah, that's what I thought." Toby blurted out, "Don't you know the pig and all the other food was supposed to be for everyone at the party? You're not supposed to eat it all up by yourself." "Well, we were there a long time. Nobody else seemed to be hungry. I couldn't understand why no one was eating any of that good food. They just kept dancing and singing. I thought no one was hungry except me." At that moment, someone stuck their head out the door of the convention center and told the small group they were needed at the meeting. The Smatosaurus looked toward the ocean. "All this talk about food has made me hungry. Tell Mr. Mike and Mr. Ben I'll be back as soon as I grab a snack."